I'm Ronnie, and you're listening to Clean With Me, the podcast where I walk you through cleaning your house step by step. When you clean along with this show, you'll get more done in less time so you can spend the rest of your day doing what matters most to you. Thanks for joining me. In today's episode, I'm going to talk you through cleaning your kitchen. And I'm also going to give some advice for new moms. This is going to be a little bit about cleaning during pregnancy and when you have a new baby. But of course, as always, there'll be something in this episode for everyone. So even if that's not the season of life you're in, I encourage you to clean along with the episode. It's time to gear up for your cleaning session. Maybe you want to get dressed and looking presentable. Put on a pair of slides or whatever shoes you like to clean in. And maybe you need to get your house smelling fresh by starting a wax warmer or an essential oil diffuser, or just simply taking out the trash and opening some windows, letting some fresh air circulate through. I recently sprinkled some carpet fresh sprinkles all over my carpet, something I do from time to time. And you can kind of let that sit until you vacuum. Probably not something you would do with a newborn baby, but again, this episode is for everybody. Another thing you might want to do at the beginning of a cleaning session is start a load of laundry. However, this is a kitchen episode, and sometimes when you start your washing machine at the beginning of a cleaning session, it can affect your water pressure in the kitchen. So you definitely want to avoid, for some houses anyway, you want to avoid starting your washing machine, loading your dishwasher, starting it, and then trying to hand wash while your dishwasher and washing machine are both running. It's not really a good idea at my house. Kind of the compromise that I make is I go ahead and start the washing machine a lot of times, but then when I pre-rinse some stuff and load my dishwasher, I don't turn it on until I'm done hand washing the remainder of my dishes. So just a thought there. Everyone's situation is different, and not all of you even have a dishwasher. And of course, some people could be showering while you're cleaning, and then that could add to the water pressure issues. Another thing you might want to do before working on your dishes and kitchen is to straighten up your immediate front entrance or just some other problem area. I mean, maybe you have two living areas, the family room's kind of on the back of your house, but it's a disaster right now, or maybe you just want to get your bedroom quickly picked up. You know which task is kind of weighing on your mind. And since the kitchen takes a while, a lot of times I like to take care of some things before I dive into cleaning my kitchen. And then of course, whenever you've done whatever else you needed to do, you're going to want to gather up dishes from around your house. It's probably different for everybody, but there are certain places that people leave cups, bowls, plates. And again, everybody's situation is different. It could be a dining room table. It could be someone's desk in a bedroom. It could be someone's nightstand. Or if you've got a large bathtub with plenty of space for cups and glasses, it could be around the tub. But every so often I will do the dishes and then wipe down the surfaces of my kitchen. I'll feel really accomplished. And then I'll walk into another room and find dirty dishes, and it's super irritating. So I'm here to remind you to do the thing that I even forget to do sometimes. 'Cause I'm here to remind you of the mess they made when they left dishes out. Some of you might get the reference there. In addition to bringing your dishes to the sink area, you might need to get some tools together. I have a strict rule: new day, new rag. Okay, you need a fresh, clean dishcloth. And if you have some rotten ones in your kitchen, you know, where they're just wadded up by the sink because somebody didn't know to rinse them and hang them over the faucet or something, take those to the laundry room, maybe set them on top of the washer to remind you to put those into your next towel load. And when it's funky rags like that, I add a little bit of white vinegar to the wash to make sure they don't stink up the other towels or something. But you need a fresh rag, and I'm assuming that you have the other cleaning products in your kitchen. Most of us store cleaning products in the kitchen. If you haven't already done so, you might need to put away your clean dishes, meaning empty your drying rack or that towel or dish drying pad where you laid some stuff out, or empty your dishwasher. This may not apply to everyone, but a lot of us walk into the kitchen and need to start with dealing with those items that we left to air dry last time. I recently redid my kids' chore lists. If you're supporting me on Patreon at the $5 level, I posted an example one in there. But basically, I made a separate spreadsheet for each kid that has a place to put a check mark once they've completed their daily tasks. And for one of the kids, I included the daily task of putting away clean dishes because my husband and I equally hate putting away clean dishes, like emptying the dishwasher, emptying the drying rack. I know he hates it, because if I ever walk in the kitchen and see him doing dishes, right away he'll be like, can you just put this stuff away? Like all he wants me to do is put away the clean stuff. Like he likes washing dishes. I mean, on some level, nobody loves it, but he wants me to put away the clean stuff. And so I know he doesn't really like that. So I thought this would be a perfect thing because my kids kind of like that chore. When I say my kids like a chore, I mean, if I gave them a list of things, would you rather? That's what they would choose. They don't mind putting away clean stuff, and we kind of hate it, so it's a great thing to delegate. When I'm creating chore systems, I try to give people tasks that they like within reason, because obviously things need to get done, and some people are going to have to do things that they don't love. Once you've put away the clean dishes, it's time to get started on washing dishes, whatever that means for you. But a lot of you need to get some items soaking at the beginning of your dishwashing session. Like if you've got a pot or pan where the food is kind of dried on, give it a pre-rinse, fill it up with hot soapy water, and get that soaking. Now, unless you have something that is baked on or burnt on, the dried on stuff only needs to soak for a few minutes to be easy to wash. So that's why I like to get those items soaking at the beginning of the session. Then, since I have a dishwasher, my next step is that I pre-rinse things under running water using a scrub brush on a handle. I also have a bottle brush for baby bottles that I also use for narrow glasses. If I have a glass that has something really dried onto the bottom, I'll put some hot water and a drop of dish soap, and I'll set it in my windowsill. My windowsill has the granite there, so it's designed to accommodate wet items. Obviously, you're not going to put something in your windowsill that's damp and that you just ran water over if it's not that kind of a surface. But the way my kitchen is designed, it has the countertop material in the windowsill that's above my sink. So I'll get that soaking as I go. And then once I've loaded my dishwasher, that pot and pan with the dried on dinner food that's been pre-rinsed and soaking, and those problem cups are all ready to be washed. Okay, and I'll give the problem cups a scrub with the bottle brush or dishwashing brush, put them into the dishwasher, and then I will wash the dirty pot and pan. Then, of course, once everything that's everything I'm going to hand wash has been hand washed, then I'll start the dishwasher. That's been my system lately. But I realize some of you don't have a dishwasher, or you don't have a working dishwasher, or you prefer not to use a dishwasher. You're going to want to, pre-rinse that first sink load and maybe get it soaking. I like to, when I'm hand washing, pre-rinse to get all of the chunks and visible stuff off, most of the visible stuff off, and then I'll get those items soaking. And a lot of times when I get stuff soaking in the hot dishwater in the sink, I'll turn around and start straightening the kitchen while that water's cooling down and the items are soaking. But just be working on doing your dishes, whatever that means for you. And if you're ahead of the game and you don't have 30 dishes to wash or you get done early, obviously you'll move on to decluttering your countertops by just putting things away where they go and wiping down surfaces. I'll talk more about surfaces in a minute, but some of you will get to surfaces sooner than others. Some of you are facing a disaster right now. I understand. Be plugging away at those dishes. Okay, so I wanted to provide a few thoughts since I did have a request from a dear financial supporter on this topic. But my disclaimer here is that my youngest child is 13. I do have grandkids who are much more recent, so I still feel like I have a lot to contribute in this area. Now, during pregnancy, I tended to not use harsh chemicals when cleaning. And if you don't feel the same way, that's fine. No judgment here. But I was more likely to buy natural products or make my own cleaning products. For example, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that I talk about Donegal. I had a guest on the show who pronounced it Donegal, where you get the little dishwashing wand with the reservoir for liquid dish soap. I would fill that up with half liquid dish soap and half white vinegar for things like cleaning the bathtub, shower, sink. That's not how I do it all the time. It's a good way to touch things up in between deeper cleanings, and I tend to use, hardcore chemicals, especially in the bathroom. I'm more likely to use some natural stuff in the kitchen. But whether you're worried about toxins or you just don't like the fumes because of the heightened sense of smell during pregnancy, sometimes using natural products can help. And you can always have your hubby or whatever scrub the bathtub with bleach if it needs it, or your mom. Some moms are like, oh, I'm going to come over and help you clean. You might have that kind of mom. And of course, you're supposed to have someone else change the litter box because of toxoplasmosis. But definitely toward the end of pregnancy, you do want to be getting your house ready for that first week or two when the baby's brand new. But I also want you to relax and realize that you're not going to be out of commission for very long. You'd be surprised at how quickly you're starting to feel like yourself, even though the official recovery where people are on maternity leave or they're encouraged to not do crunches yet and things like that. The first 6 weeks after a vaginal birth or the first 3 months after a C-section where you can't do crunches, you'll be doing light housework sooner than you think. So don't feel like you're not going to be able to do anything for a super long time. But you do need to prepare for that first week or two by doing a deep clean before the baby comes. Definitely. Because when your baby's first born, you're supposed to get up and walk around. You don't want to get stiff or whatever, especially after a C-section. You don't want to get too stiff from not walking around enough. But at the same time, trigger warning, this episode is just for women. But you are going to be bleeding, and it's good to stay off your feet as much as possible. Yeah, your doctor might have told you to walk a little bit, and you're going to do that. But for the most part, you're not going to be on your feet a lot during your recovery. So you want to get those deep cleaning tasks taken care of before the birth. You'll have that nesting instinct anyway, so I probably don't need to tell you that. So it might be a couple weeks before your next deep clean. I'm going to talk about, maintaining during that time. And you also might be having company during that time, people coming over to see the baby, bring you food, etc. And this would apply to anything you're getting ready to do, whether it's having a baby or maybe starting college classes or starting a new job, or just whatever it is that is going to take up a lot of your time and make housework a little more challenging for you. The key is to simplify. Cut out any unnecessary things in your life or put them on the back burner temporarily. I think we all have different times when we go into survival mode, and I'm not calling that to stress you out. I'm saying that you want to do the minimum to survive, I guess. But there is something so therapeutic about deep cleaning your house like a week before you give birth. That having been said, it's also normal to be tired. So I'm not saying that you need to be doing 1 or 2 hour cleaning marathons. Late in pregnancy and early in the newborn period, probably those episodes where we just work in one room are going to be ideal. And something really important when you have a baby is just being flexible. If you're like me, that you're the type of person who wants to have like some type of a schedule, think routine, not schedule. The difference between a routine and a schedule is that a routine is just the order in which you do things, whereas a schedule is like at 8 o'clock, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this by such and such the time. With a child, you want to get used to switching gears a little bit and setting things aside and just everything taking longer. I mean, for example, when you're grocery shopping, you're going to have to bring certain things with you, and then you're going to have to, put the baby seat into the cart. You're going to just do everything slower, so you're going to allow more time for things, but that applies to your housework too. And there's a saying that if you do one extra thing in addition to keeping your baby alive, then you've accomplished something. That's a little bit extreme, but I think if you're putting things away as you go throughout the day, then that does hold true, that maybe you only need to do one actual official cleaning task per day. And I'm not expecting you to do any of that within the first 2 weeks. Okay? The way you're going to keep your house clean in the first 2 weeks is you're going to have a couple of changing stations for your baby. Some of you are like, oh, I have the changing table in the room and the nursery and this and that. Yeah, but there's probably another place in your house where you're more likely to change the baby, and you want to have a little station there, a place to throw away the diaper, whether you're using a diaper pail or you're tying up those dirty diapers in a grocery bag and then putting them in the trash. Whatever the system is, you're going to want your diaper, wipes, change of clothes, little changing pad, maybe in your living room or family room, in addition to your bedroom or the baby's room where the other changing station is. Okay? Make things easy on yourself. Have at least 2 places to throw away diapers, because otherwise you're going to be just bleary-eyed, tired in the middle of the night, and you're going to be leaving the little diaper somewhere. So just realize you're not going to be going to that bedroom changing table every time. Not realistic. Having that place close at hand to throw away the diapers and maybe have a little hamper or whatever is an example of making it easy to deal with things as you go, so that you're not messing up the house. You're not deep cleaning the house during your immediate recovery period, but you're not messing it up either, if that makes sense. And some kids are so much easier than others. When I had my first baby, I was like, what are they talking about? Sleepless nights, this, that, and the other. Like, this is easy. Okay. Second baby, pretty easy, but obviously more challenging because I had another kid to take care of. But with the third baby, I remember saying, wow, I don't even have time to load the dishwasher. Like, loading the dishwasher took me a couple of hours because this particular baby did not sleep well. There were a lot of interruptions. So it kind of took me all day. My other 2 kids were at school. There was an age gap there. So that made things a little easier. I just kind of resigned myself to the fact that it took me all day to load the dishwasher, or a couple hours, because I would start to do it and then need to walk away and care for my baby. And that's okay. You're doing a lot of the same things when you have a new baby. You're just doing them slower, and you need to allow more time for it. And yes, I believe in that old adage, sleep when the baby sleeps. especially during those first 2 weeks. Don't worry about loading the dishwasher during the baby's nap. Definitely prioritize taking care of yourself. I don't want you to get postpartum depression and things like that. And obviously get help if you have postpartum psychosis. I've never really experienced that. I think just my idea of postpartum depression was just being kind of emotional where I could cry easily or something, but I really wasn't depressed. Definitely get help if that happens. But a good night's sleep can go a long way. So definitely pamper yourself in those first couple of weeks. Hopefully by now you're cleaning the surfaces of your kitchen. The other day I wiped down all of my countertops and the sink area and the stove. And then I just wiped down the upper cabinets as high as I could reach. I didn't get on a chair because the problem is the areas that you're touching usually. So it can make your kitchen look really good to just wipe down the bottom parts of the cabinets on a regular basis that you're touching. Especially if your cabinets are either light or dark, they're going to show a lot of fingerprints. So I did that, but then I did a more thorough scrubbing of the lower cabinets. So those are some ideas of bonus tasks. If you haven't done it in a while, for sure, wipe down your cabinets and drawers. And of course, just be observant and clean whatever surfaces in your kitchen need cleaning. And once you're done wiping down those surfaces, it's time to sweep and mop your kitchen. And you may need to do another bonus chore like scrubbing a baseboard or scrubbing the floor on your hands and knees around the perimeter of your kitchen. But that might be beyond the scope of this episode because I'm only going to give you about 4 more minutes. I am about to record a bonus episode for financial supporters. That's going to be part 2 of this one. I'm going to talk you through cleaning the rest of your house. And I'm also going to discuss things like meals. You know, how some people freeze casseroles. Some people have friends or people at church bringing over food. And some people are like me and they do something else, which I'll talk about. By the way, special thanks to those who are already supporting the show, either on Patreon, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker Supporter Club, or by sending in random donations to purchase several episodes from me. I do take Venmo and Cash App. To get the full program, you've got to subscribe and unlock those longer bonus episodes. And I've recently done away with the Wednesday or Thursday episode. The free episodes are only going to be on Mondays. So if you want new episodes more often than once a week, you've got to subscribe to the bonus content to get those. And those episodes are typically longer. Some of you are sweeping and mopping your floor right now, but if this is not a day where you need to do that, you might want to clean the inside of your microwave or at least remove old leftovers from the fridge and wipe down some shelves. I do have an episode on just cleaning the fridge. I think one of them's a free episode from a long time ago, and one of them's a recent bonus episode. The recent bonus episode is how to clean your refrigerator, and it's a real-time clean along. I was literally cleaning the inside of my refrigerator while recording the episode. So I know that one's doable because I was cleaning while recording it. But in case you don't hear the bonus episode where I talk a lot more about cleaning for new moms, just realize that you will not be as incapacitated as you think and for as long as you think. It always feels like that during the pregnancy. I've had 6 kids and I feel like I've got to get absolutely everything done before the baby comes. But every time I was on my feet again pretty quickly. The C-section, one of my kids was a C-section. The recovery was more painful. My husband had to kind of help me when I was sitting up, for those first few days, like grab my arm so that I didn't use my abdominal muscles. But I was still doing things like gradually loading the dishwasher and cooking after a few days. But just doing a good deep clean before your babies do can work wonders. And then I mentioned simplifying. Let me just explain what I mean by that. You have hobbies that you should probably set aside in favor of sleep. You should be saying no to things if you don't feel up to them. Just say, I don't feel up to it right now. I know of someone who had twins and didn't leave the house for like 2 years. It's understandable. Just don't expect yourself to be some kind of super mom in the very beginning. But at the same time, don't expect it to be harder than it's going to be. Your biggest challenge is going to be getting enough sleep. And for some people, they might, you might be struggling to breastfeed. Breastfeeding might seem easy in the hospital, but then you'll start to get sore. And then that soreness could last 2 or 3 weeks. But if you push through that, the breastfeeding will end up being easier than bottle feeding. But a fed baby is best. No judgment here if you're not even breastfeeding. But I mainly just want to warn you about the pain and the scabbing that can happen in those first few weeks of breastfeeding, and tell you that it does get easier. Also, you're going to be super thirsty while you're breastfeeding. So when I talked about having that little changing station, you're also going to have nursing stations with pillows to prop up your arms and bottled water. I hope you got a lot done during this episode. I'm going to talk a lot more about the meal planning and other aspects of being a new mom in the bonus episode where we finish cleaning the rest of your house. Happy cleaning, and I'll talk to you soon.